The greatest things we humans do, we do together. Good evening and welcome to Come Together, Washington. It is a great honor to welcome all of you, my colleagues among the faculty, administration, and staff of the University Board of Regents, elected officials of the state of Washington, state legislators, congresspersons, mayors, council members, students, present and future undergraduates and graduates. A special welcome also to the students on stage. National Scholarship winners, diversity scholars, Mary Gates scholars, graduate fellowship recipients, to the alumni, business and civic leaders, honored guests from many countries throughout the world, and fellow citizens. I first set foot in this community in the early 1970s to keynote a conference on lifelong learning. I remember arriving in Seattle on an exquisite fall afternoon, walking across this campus and thinking to myself, how could any group of faculty on this earth be so fortunate as to work on such a magnificent campus? I've been here now for almost 30 years. I've discovered over the course of 3 decades, ladies and gentlemen, that the hallmark of the University of Washington is the extent to which people work together across disciplinary boundaries to address complex and important challenges, and the extent to which they work outside the walls of the university itself. In the many community assignments I've tried to fulfill, I found what everyone does who is privileged to be a part of this grand community, that serving the public good is as much reward and satisfaction as anyone could possibly wish. The privilege to serve and to make our society an ever more just and productive one is the spirit that lies behind this celebration. Collectively, we seek to ensure that our state, our nation, and the world are economically vibrant, dedicated to the health and well-being of the less fortunate, committed to sound environmental practices, educationally strong, and culturally alive. These things we must do together. As so many things are these days, the university's work is both a local and a global matter. This university has very strong local roots, but it also has a magnificent global reach. Students in the health sciences study and practice all over this region and in places as far away as Thailand and Singapore. Faculty and students are to be found in Mexico and throughout Washington state, working with local communities to design and build homes and community centers, playgrounds, and healing gardens. I could go on, but instead of telling you, we're going to show you. One of the remarkable feats of this university is to be found in its cutting-edge technology. What we're about to show you, we hope, very few other places in the world know how to do. We're going to bring you live, high-definition television streamed over the internet. A group of faculty and students who are engaged in study and research with their counterparts from China. The University of Washington Worldwide program creates new models for sustainable international partnerships in education and research. University of Washington Worldwide faculty and students work in teams together with students and professors at partner universities to address common, pressing, practical challenges facing both Washington state and the partner regions. The 2 main University of Washington Worldwide partner universities in China are Sichuan University in Chengdu and Tsinghua University in Beijing. Students and faculty with University of Washington Worldwide are joining us live from Bejing. I'd like to introduce Professor Gretchen Kalonji, who is Kyocera Professor of Materials Science and Director of University of Washington Worldwide. Professor Kalonji.
Thank you, Professor Locke, and good evening, Seattle. We're here at Tsinghua University this morning with a group of UW students, Sichuan University students, and Tsinghua University students who are going to tell you a little bit about the work they've been doing together.
Hello, Seattle. My name is Riz Reyes. I'm in China studying urban horticulture and rare plants of Sichuan province. I've had the privilege of working with top botanists here, and some say I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm out in the wild, so it's kind of a dream come true for me to be here.
Hi, I'm Venus Wang. I spent last year at UW as part of our exchange program focusing on research related to Douglas fir growth. I also worked as the undergraduate TA for UW freshmen on a project having to do with the nitrification of water using wetlands.
And I'm Bob Wang, and I spent my junior year at UW and I'm working on materials for solid outside fuel cells, a technology for more environmentally friendly energy conversion.
And I'm Brian Wang. I am a UW sophomore that just recently arrived in China for my year of research at Sichuan University. During my freshman year, I got to work on real cutting-edge thermoelectric material research, and this year I'm now working with our partner university at SU, continuing my research.
Yeah. One of the exciting things about the program is that we get to work together for multiple years. When I was at UW, I worked as an undergraduate TA in the freshman class in which Brian participated, and now we are together again in China. And this year, when Brian goes back to UW, he will continue to work with the younger Chinese students he's now working with in Chengdu. So this really gives our program a family-like nature.
My name is Lauren Brown, and I'm a dual major in public health and anthropology. I'm studying health systems in a remote village of a Chinese ethnic minority region. One of the great aspects of this program is that it allows undergraduates to do fieldwork internationally, which is very rare for a U.S. program in China.
And I'm Ran Rui in Tsinghua University. I worked last year on a recycling project. In our work, we created a comparative study of student attitude, practice, and the perceptions of recycling in US, China, and Japan.
Hi, I'm Pan Yang. I'm currently sophomore at Sichuan University. In my freshman year, I also focused on the recycling project, working together with some UW students who were here with us last year in China, and with student team here in Tsinghua University, and one in Tohoku University in Japan. I will spend my junior year in Seattle starting next fall, so look forward to seeing many of you there.
That's absolutely wonderful. Pan, we look forward to meeting you too. Let me turn now to Professor Kalonji to ask about the future of the program.
Thanks so much. We're in the process of scaling up the program to include partner universities in other regions of the world, including Africa, the Americas, and Southeast Asia. We're also expanding to include additional project topics. Our ultimate goal is that all students in all majors get the opportunity at least once in their undergraduate careers to participate in a deep multinational collaborative project. Thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this exciting event. And now we say, xie xie.
Local roots and global reach. That, too, is the story of our keynote speaker, whom I now have the privilege to introduce. I know that everyone here tonight is well aware of the historic role Bill Gates has played in founding and building Microsoft, as well as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. 5 years after the inception of the foundation, he has given us a vivid sense of what visionary, strategic focus and unprecedented philanthropy can do. Those who have worked closely with Bill Gates invariably remark on his insatiable appetite for information and knowledge and his intrepid spirit in imagining how the world might be a better place. His ties to the University of Washington are numerous and long-standing. Our debt of gratitude to him and to his wife, Melinda, is beyond measure. Their generosity has touched all parts of the university, from undergraduate education to global health. It is my pleasure and honor to invite to the lectern our keynote speaker, Bill Gates III.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Well, it's great to be here this evening to celebrate the future of the University of Washington. This university has always been finding new ways to make our lives better, now for over 150 years. I'm also happy to be here because for the last 30 years, I've wanted to set the record straight. In the early 1970s, when I was still in high school, my sister Christy, who was in student government here at the UW, helped me get a $500 contract to computerize class enrollment here. It pains me to say that the campus newspaper accused us of nepotism. In spite of what you might have read in the Daily, I was qualified for that job. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I'm keeping the $500. Now, some people will see some irony in my support of the UW and point out that I never graduated from any college. My response is, what do you mean never? When I left college, I told my dad I was taking a leave of absence. I'm sticking to that story too. Well, we're all here today because the UW has a big place in our lives, and it will play a big part in our future. It can be a very bright future if we have as much commitment to the UW as its earliest supporters did. 153 years ago, the city of Seattle was a mix of water, mountains, trees, mud, and 22 people getting off a boat, mentioning that the weather wasn't that great. None of those early settlers came here for what Seattle was then. They came for what it could be. Arthur Denny believed the future was tied to getting the state capital to be in this city. But those plans were interrupted by a Methodist minister named Daniel Bagley, who told Denny, nonsense, a university is a heap better than a capital. Now, I've always believed that if you're not laughed at for at least one of your ideas, you're probably not being creative enough. And a university here in Seattle at that time was a laughable idea. There just wasn't a need. But they didn't mind. The founders went about building a university in a town of 200 people. This is what you call thinking ahead. What difference has it made? Well, I think today we can look in any direction. Hardly 150 years after its founding, Seattle certainly rivals the great cities of the world in prosperity and vitality and in quality of life. And it could not have happened without the University of Washington. The UW has developed our homegrown gifts. It's become a magnet for talent, and it's done a phenomenal job of serving the community. First of all, the UW has always worked to make college education accessible to as many people as possible. If we're going to make the most of our future, we need to help our young people make it through college. by preparing them and helping them pay for it. When the UW gives young people the tools they need to achieve their dreams, it not only makes their lives better, it makes all our lives better by promoting greater equity and prosperity. The UW improves our lives in very direct ways as well. Some of you earn degrees here, some of you study here, teach here, or work here. Some of you have received heroic health care at the UW Medical Center. But if all we know about the UW is the difference it makes to our families, our city, and our state, we don't know the half of it. The university has helped change the world. It was a UW graduate who developed the technique for smallpox vaccination that eradicated the disease. A UW professor engineered a vaccine for hepatitis B that is saving millions of lives. A team of UW researchers identified fetal alcohol syndrome and developed kidney dialysis. UW graduates pioneered the design of jet planes and spacecraft. A team of UW professors developed the first ultrasound instrument that could detect a fetal heartbeat. The UW is home to 3 of the key scientists responsible for mapping the human genome. The UW is also home to Dr. Linda Buck, who won this year's Nobel Prize in physiology for medicine 2 weeks ago. She was born in Seattle, earned degrees at the University of Washington, and is a professor here now. She's a world-class hometown talent. The UW receives more funding from federal research grants than any other public university in America. It's the second leading recipient of funding from the National Institutes of Health. But by serving our world, the UW is also serving this community. You simply can't have this kind of intellectual firepower in one place without creating a vibrant community around you. That's another way the UW continues to nourish our city and state. But the most important point to remember here is that energy can't flow forever in one direction. The UW can't keep sustaining us unless we keep supporting the UW. The UW's founders understood that, and so have many people since, including Bill Boyne. In 1906, Mr. Boyne took his first flight. He decided he could build a better airplane, and then did it. We all know that side of the story, but here's another side. Boyne knew his new company needed brain power, so he bought a wind tunnel for the UW that allowed them to start teaching aeronautics. And he also hired 2 UW engineering students, both of whom went on to become presidents at Boeing. Bill Boyne was able to change the world because he had the resources of the UW, and he enjoyed the resources of the UW because he invested in the UW. From aerospace to computer technology, from biotechnology to internet commerce, to really great coffee, we have become a hometown of people who look at old scenes and see new possibilities. The UW has helped realize those possibilities. Neither Seattle nor the UW would be what it is today without the other. And as we look to the future, neither will prosper unless both are strong. I confess that when it comes to the University of Washington, I'm not a neutral observer. This university has shaped my life in a number of positive ways. The UW was responsible for a lot of my early learning on computers. When I was 13 years old and still in high school, 4 UW faculty members created Computer Center Corporation here on Roosevelt Way. The center had one of the first commercially available time-sharing computers. And the owners gave Paul Allen and I free computer time as long as we could find flaws in the system. Well, one time we went a bit too far in finding flaws, and we got banned for a summer. Now, I followed that ban, but Paul didn't. He worked his way somehow onto a terminal in the electrical engineering department and spent the summer using a professor's account. He told me about it late in the summer, and we both spent quite a bit of time there thereafter. Well, my life has taken the course it has because Paul and I were there at the right moment to start the world's first microcomputer software company. Without that computer experience that we had here at the UW, we might not have been ready when the time came. And the phenomenal thing is, we weren't students at the UW. We benefited because the UW's mission is to serve the community, and we were members of the community. Of course, the UW did more than just give me computer experience. It's made crucial contributions to Microsoft and to the work of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. When Microsoft was first getting some traction, Paul and I had to decide where we wanted to live and work. Many people in our position would have had to make a choice. Either go to a world-class city with a top research university that would be a magnet for talent, or go home. And thanks to the UW, we were able to do both. It was a smart move. Microsoft has had a very beneficial collaboration with the UW. Many Microsoft employees take courses here. Many Microsoft employees give courses at the computer science department. A good example of this is one of our top researchers at Microsoft, David Salison, is actually jointly working at Microsoft and being a professor here at the UW at the same time. And that's just one example of how beneficial this close relationship has been. The UW is also a huge asset to the work of the foundation. When Melinda and I started our philanthropy, we thought hard about how to do the greatest good for the largest number. We decided to focus our efforts on a few areas: education, access to technology, helping at-risk families here in the Pacific Northwest, and improving global health with an emphasis on medical research. These areas turn out to be the focus of much of what the UW is doing and doing with global impact. So every one of our foundation programs have partnered with the University of Washington. One of our greatest passions is the global fight against AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Of course, diseases that kill millions of people every year. Some of the most important research in these areas is going on here at the UW. Locally, our foundation is working on what we call the Sound Families Initiative. It's a program to help families in need find permanent homes. A team from the UW has helped us from the very beginning. And the UW has been an indispensable partner in evaluation. For example, they played a huge role in evaluating our program to put computers in public libraries across America, helping us understand who is using them, what for, and how we can make it a better program. At the foundation, we try a lot of different approaches, and we need to know if an idea fails or works. In business, the market tells you. In science, your instruments tell you. In philanthropy, no one tells you. Your grantees want to be your friends. And so we rely often on the UW to help us get the blunt truth. Finally, I want to acknowledge how much the UW has meant to my family. Two of my grandparents came to school here. My older sister went to school here. My parents both did their undergraduate and graduate work here. And as some of you know, my mom and dad met here. They knew each other slightly when my mom decided to run for student body secretary. My dad was a big man on campus. He was 6'7" even then. And everyone looked up to him. When my mom asked for his support, he told her he was backing another candidate. Perhaps he was playing hard to get. Sometimes risky strategies get results. Even today, he won't say who he voted for, but he did eventually make the right choice. We have a lot of family memories here at the UW, but for me, supporting the UW is more than a sentimental decision. It's a strategic decision. The quality of our future depends on the quality of our university. If the early settlers could see that more than a century ago, we should see it today. We can have a dazzling future here in Seattle and in Washington. We have opportunities to make dramatic improvements in people's lives, in health, education, and in economic advances. But nothing is guaranteed. When you look to the future, the range between the best case and worst case scenarios is huge. If we're going to end up on the positive end of what's possible, we need to go right at the problems that overwhelm the entire world and solve them. To do this, we need many things. We need medical technology. We need information technologies. We need new ways to distribute the breakthroughs so they reach people who need them. It's difficult to do these things without a university, and I don't see how we're going to do them here in our city and state without supporting this university. The University of Washington plays a vital role in curing disease, educating our youth, building our economy, and fighting poverty. And we play a vital role in the UW. We are part of something huge. Let's make the most of it. Let's support the UW, and we'll create the future too. Thank you.
It is a wonderfully inspiring address you have given, Mr. Gates. It's been said before, but it's worth repeating. Seattle is fortunate that you were born here, and the world is fortunate that you were born to a family of such remarkable generosity and philanthropic spirit. Many of us aspire to change the world, but you have done so. This university has many treasures, its friends and supporters first among them. But it has some hidden treasures, too. How many of you know that the University of Washington has a center in Rome? For more than 15 years now, students, particularly those in art and architecture, but now also in history, sociology, and even astronomy, have had the remarkable opportunity to live and study in Rome. Once again, we're relying on our network engineers, the very first in the world to successfully stream video over the internet, to work their wizardry. Since the Rome Center's founding in 1986, more than 1,000 University of Washington students have studied there. The center occupies 3 floors of a wonderful old building in the Center Plaza in Rome. The foundations of that building date from 55 BC. And now to Rome, where we meet Professors Trina Dinas and Kurt Lebitsky and their students. Buonasera.
Buonasera, Professore. And hello, Seattle. I'm Trina Dinas. I'm a professor in architecture back at UW in Seattle. And I'm here this fall quarter with 31 architecture students. We've been here for 2 weeks of our 10-week program, and we've already completely immersed ourselves in this amazing city where classical and medieval structures stand right next to modern ones.
Ciao, Professore Locke. Sono Professore Kurt Lubitsky. I teach in the School of Art at the Seattle campus. I'm here with Anna Choi, one of 24 students participating in the School of Art's 11th annual Studio Art Rome program in Rome. Let's hear what the students have to say about their wonderful experience in this amazing city.
Buonasera, my name is BK Choi. I'm an undergraduate in the architecture program. Right now I'm working with 5 students in an urban design analysis project that takes us outside the ancient city walls. We're learning about how people live and work in a part of the city where it's a current focus of change in Rome. And I think it's great that our curriculum emphasizes working in the city itself and in a group, because I think it's a great practice for being an architect.
Hi, I'm Anna Choi. I'm a double major with studio art as well as community environment and planning. And we just got back from a 9-day field trip to Florence, the hill towns of Umbria, and Venice. And in Florence, I had an amazing time there at the Boboli Gardens. I had my digital camera, and I took tons of pictures that really captured the formal and whimsical aspects of the gardens. So now for my current project here, I want to take those images and create a series of maps that capture that sort of surrealism of that whole field trip, as well as utilize the sketches that I drew there.
Hi, I'm Liz Browning. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Landscape Architecture and one of 24 students here in Rome participating in the Italian Landscape Studies program. Our on-site, in-depth study of Italy's villas, parks, and public open spaces is an incredible opportunity. And I'm particularly thrilled to be working with our advisor, Professor David Strutfield, on my thesis, which focuses on the role of women and the design of Italian gardens. I know that I speak for all of us students when I say how this truly interdisciplinary and international experience is one that we will never forget. And we look forward to sharing our memories and experiences with you back home at the University of Washington.
Ciao.
Ciao. Buonasera. Buonasera.
It's said that Rome never sleeps, and obviously neither do any of the students, since it's 4 o'clock in the morning there. Someone else who probably doesn't get enough sleep is the president of the university. I've had the privilege of knowing and admiring his 5 predecessors. The impact of their leadership is everywhere in evidence this evening. President Mark Emmert brings a vast range of experience and a national perspective to his post, having served universities in every region of this country. We are fortunate also because he brings a lifelong appreciation of the special nature of our region and of this university. As many of you know, Mark Emmert was born and raised in Fife and graduated from the University of Washington in 1975. He comes to us most recently from the presidency of Louisiana State University. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 16th president of the University of Washington, Dr. Mark Emmert.
Hubert. Well, good evening. This stage with this community of people is by far the most exciting and gratifying place I could possibly be at this moment in my life. I knew that before Bill Gates' speech. I know it much more profoundly now. Thank you very much, Bill. That was a wonderful, wonderful speech. It's simply wonderful to come home and then to find that home is even better than you remembered and imagined. The University of Washington, our university, has emerged as one of the most preeminent research universities in the world. For this, I know exactly where the credit lies. It lies with all of you gathered here tonight and with thousands of others whom you represent. Who are you? You are the scholars, scientists, doctors, artists, and staff members who commit your lives every day to the University of Washington and its mission. You are the students who inspire and challenge and rejuvenate your professors. You are the loyal and accomplished alumni who make us so proud. You are the community, business, and political leaders who have been our partners in building a culture of innovation. And you are the cherished friends whose gifts, large and small, lift this university onto a higher plane of achievement. The signs of your wonderful generosity can be found in scholarships for exceptional students, endowed chairs that sustain our remarkable faculty, seed money for innovative new programs, construction funds for beautiful buildings, new and old. That generosity enhances everything we do. It opens the door to a future that would otherwise be out of our reach. So we've reached this moment tonight together. This exceptional creation, the University of Washington, owes its being and its distinction to the people of the Northwest. We could talk all night about the awards and the acclaim earned by the UW, from a recent international ranking of the UW as the 8th best public university in the world, to our alumni's most recent Nobel Prize. But let me tell you about a more typical time at the UW, my third week on campus. It was the week of July 26th, midsummer, and here's what emerged from the UW during that otherwise quiet week. On Monday, we announced a breakthrough in the fight against muscular dystrophy. Dr. Jeffrey Chamberlain and his colleagues, a team from neurology, medicine, and biochemistry, have found a safe way to deliver a new gene to the muscles of a mouse with muscular dystrophy. The new gene dramatically reverses the effects of the disease, an incredibly promising step toward a cure. On Tuesday of that week came the announcement of a new theory about the nature of the universe. That theory, from physics professor Ann Nelson and her colleagues, boldly confronts two of the major mysteries in astrophysics, the nature of dark energy and the accelerating expansion of the universe. And then on Thursday, the Environmental Protection Agency announced its largest grant ever given, $30 million, to Dr. Joel Kaufman from our School of Public Health and Community Medicine. The EPA chose Dr. Kaufman and the UW to lead a 10-year study of the connection between air pollution and heart disease. Dr. Kaufman will coordinate faculty from 9 other universities and 8 UW departments. The results of the study will help determine new national standards for air quality for all of us. And while that was happening, our 3 campuses were educating thousands of students in one of the busiest summer quarter programs in the nation. We were also conducting classes through our exceptional continuing education program, helping non-traditional students finish their degrees, should there be anyone in the audience who is yet to finish his degree. Just a thought. This week in July, amazingly, was just another week at the UW. Having spent 20 years at universities around the country, I can tell you that an ordinary week at the UW is really quite extraordinary by any standard of comparison. The breadth and audacity of the University of Washington's ambitions, the contributions it repeatedly makes to the public good, the way it marshals people and ideas across disciplines and geographic boundaries, and the ways in which it enriches the education of our students. These things make the University of Washington a national and indeed a global leader. While all of us here are justifiably proud of the UW's accomplishments, we also need to look to the future. Like those brave and even brazen souls who first dreamed of a territorial university, we will not wait to see what the future holds. We will create the future. So what might the future University of Washington look like? First, the future of our university will stem from the distinctive character of Washington and its people. The Northwest is a very special place. We are open to all kinds of people and ideas here. We don't stand much on ceremony. We're not bound by tradition. We trade and compete with the world. We invent new ways of doing things, building airplanes, creating software, making coffee, selling books, communicating. We're pragmatists, but also in very important ways, we're idealists. We really do believe we can make the world a better place. And of course, we're very attached to those mountains and waters and vistas that surround us. All this and more is in the DNA of the University of Washington. UW faculty, staff, and students have achieved distinction by crossing the boundaries of traditional academic disciplines. Our culture is creative, collegial, and entrepreneurial. Our people focus on the problems at hand, the great puzzles to solve, the mysteries to unravel. They value energy and ideas, not pedigrees or pomp. We will build upon this culture of idealistic pragmatism. It will be our signature. The UW should be recognized for its intellectual boldness in taking on topics and challenges others won't or simply can't. By supporting the strengths of our faculty and staff and students, their collegiality, their broad field of vision, their interdisciplinary instincts, their willingness to take risks, we can make the University of Washington a world leader in addressing the most compelling questions of our time. Those great questions will be solved only by those who see the interrelationships among ideas, people, and places, the big issues we confront, and the opportunities we pursue will require novel, creative ways of knowing, thinking, and acting. And that is what the University of Washington will do better than any other university. What comes from this vision? What comes from this vision? First, the university, as we've seen tonight, will embrace the world around it. We will create new models of partnerships with business and government and communities, partnerships that bring the intellectual resources of the university to bear on real-world problems and opportunities. Second, we will hold our students to the highest academic standards, not simply because we desire it, but because the world demands it. For the very same reason, our students will demand educational excellence from us. Our goal is to provide an education second to none. Moreover, a UW education will be distinguished especially by cross-disciplinary connections and active engagement with society. Third, we will become an academic community that mirrors the varied faces of our society. The challenges of our time require the energy and ideas of all our people. We cannot afford to leave out the creativity and innovations of any segment of our society. But beyond this practical argument, equality of opportunity is a matter of simple justice. It is the right thing to do, and this university will do it. Finally, the University of Washington will focus not on what it can become, but on what it can do. How our faculty, students, and alumni can channel the UW's incredible intellectual resources toward creating a wiser, healthier, more prosperous, and more humane society. This university is crucial to any strategy for building the kind of life we all want to live here in the state of Washington. The nature of modern times makes it so. There's no such thing today as a vital and prosperous society without first-class education and first-class research. Our vitality as a state and a nation depends upon our wits and our creativity. And what are the two essential products of the University of Washington? Smart people and groundbreaking discoveries. It can truly be said that the future of Washington and the future of the University of Washington are inextricably bound together. From here, on this stage, as I look around this magnificent gathering, the future looks bright indeed. This university, the University of Washington, belongs to you. As its current steward, I give you heartfelt thanks for all that you have done to make it so great. I urge you to remember that your expectations, your values, and your love of this university will create its future, and thereby the future of Washington. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
President Emmert, thank you for a wonderfully stimulating address and for your dedication to this university. In President Emmert's first few months, he traveled the state of Washington, meeting with friends of the university and leaders throughout the state. This was deliberate. The university's strength and well-being depend on the people of this state. Parents from all corners of the state entrust their sons and daughters to the university for their education. University of Washington alumni work and raise families and contribute to their communities throughout this state. As you will now see for our third and last live remote segment, the ties of the university to communities throughout the state are strong. Nowhere more so than in the Yakima Valley. We join Robert Ozuna, director of the UW Yakima Valley Community Partnership, at a seminar on financial management with a group of local business owners and community leaders. Mr. Ozuna, tell us about the Yakima UW Community Partnership.
Hello, we're excited to be here at the Yakima Nation Business Training Center. We facilitate a range of projects that use the expertise of University of Washington faculty and students here in the Yakima Valley. These projects address community needs while providing research and learning opportunities in real-world and diverse settings. Our office has established a presence for the University of Washington that supports this type of work. As you may know, the regional economy is going through fundamental changes here. One of the projects that we started to address this change is a project that helps Latinos and Native American business owners. Tonight, we have our professor, who is the chair of the UW Accounting Department at the Business School, starting the first in a series of business seminars. I ask him and fellow business owners to share the perspective about these business seminars.
Here in Yakima Valley, I'm struck by the natural beauty of this area and the wonderful attitude and enthusiasm of the folks who make up the community here. Our objective in this program is to help the local business owners access the wonderful faculty and other resources of the business school and the University of Washington. And we have some folks who participate in our programs. I'd like you to hear from their perspective what the program is doing for them.
Good evening. I am Barbara Sherman. My husband, Paul Vandenberg, and I own Paradisos del Sol Winery in Zillow, Washington. The UW Business Seminars have been instrumental in helping us build our business plan and also to help us strengthen our connections with the other wineries in the Rattlesnake Hills Wine Trail in Yakima Valley. Thank you so much, University of Washington.
Hello, my name is Pam Fabella, and I work with the Yakima Nation Museum. We are very proud that the Yakima Nation and the University of Washington have been able to come together to create a partnership. Thank you to the Yakima Nation and the University of Washington.
Buenas tardes, I'm Jose Mendez, owner of Jose's Hardware Store here in Wapato, Washington. as a Spanish business owner, I am excited that University of Washington been providing these seminars in Spanish. I'm looking forward to continue participating to these seminars. I learned a lot, and this information strengthened my business, my knowledge as how to run the business. All I can say is gracias, University of Washington.
Part of our mission at the business school and at the University of Washington is to break out of our bricks and mortar boundaries and reach out to the state as a whole. We want to play a major part in making sure that the resources we have at the University of Washington is easily accessed by every community in the state. Thereby, we can help to enhance every community in the state.
The man whom I have the honor to introduce now, Bill Gates Sr., grew up in Bremerton, graduated from the University of Washington twice, once as an undergraduate and then as a law student, built a law practice in this community, raised a family, and has done more to contribute to this university than any other single citizen. Having worked with him on matters of community importance, I know him to be a citizen not only of the University of Washington, but of the state and of the world, revered by family, by friends, and by colleagues here and everywhere. He is gracious, unassuming, and always the first to step forward when there is work to be done. Bill Gates Sr.'s service to the university is unmatched. He is a regent of the university, he is chair of the university's foundation board, and he is also chair of the University of Washington's campaign, Creating Futures. Please join me in a warm welcome and tribute to Bill Gates Sr.
I must say that I do have a great feeling of pride for all that tonight represents, a real coming together with our shared belief that the work that we do today and tomorrow and every day has profound implications for our future. I'm reminded tonight that I've had a life full of blessings which I owe to my family and this community and this university. And I'm here tonight for another reason, though. I'm here to announce the public launch of the University of Washington's $2 billion campaign, Creating Futures. Well, you might ask, why a campaign and why such an ambitious campaign? And it's really very simple. It's to ensure that the university continues to be a crucible for groundbreaking research, life-saving medical advances, innovative graduate, undergraduate curricula, a source for economic development. We simply must raise additional money. In very tough economic circumstances, the state continues to provide critical foundational support for the mission of this magnificent place. But it is not enough, and it will not be for the foreseeable future. So we simply have to do our part. What has private support done for the university in the past? It has allowed countless students to receive an extraordinary education. It has supported top faculty to do their most ambitious and creative work. It has contributed to essential building projects. It has enabled the transformation of whole fields of study. It has helped to find cures, reduce human suffering. The fundamental point about the campaign is this: we all benefit when the university thrives. There you will find faculty and students ready to talk with you about their research and education, work that improves the quality of care for the elderly, advances neuroscience, helps foster kids, makes public schools better, supports small businesses, documents voices from the children of war, breaks new ground in digital arts and media, adds to our knowledge of the oceans. I could go on and on. In short, this university offers us a continuing source of inspiration and provocation, intellectual, scientific, economic, creative, artistic. We so often take this for granted, but we must not. We must not. A university does not stand apart from the world, but in deep connection to it. I think Woodrow Wilson said it best at Princeton University. He said, "We dare not keep aloof and closet ourselves while a nation comes to its maturity. Our resource for the future lies in careful thought, providence, and a wise economy. And the school must be of the nation." This is no less true today, or in our corner of the world, than it was 100 years ago. It is fitting, then, that we end this program by turning it back to you, who are of this university and of this community, those of you who work here, teach here, study here, research here, who hire UW graduates, who benefit from the university's intellectual firepower, who have received first-rate health care, and most of all, to you who will be the Huskies of the future. We begin our finale with a very special young lady, a 9-year-old who already knows all about the U of W. Emiko, take it away.
Hello, my name is Emika Smukla. I am 9 years old and in 4th grade at the John Stanford International School. I definitely want to come and be a student here when I am older.
Buenas noches, yo soy Ricardo Garcia. This year, KDNA, the state's only Spanish-language educational public radio, celebrates 25 years of community service. The most recent collaboration, the creation of the KDNA UW Technology Center, has made it possible for farm workers and immigrant families to learn basic computer skills. This partnership promotes the value of education and brings hope to the Latino community of Eastern Washington.
Hello, it's Willis Koenig. I teach in comparative literature. Maybe you were my student. Let me tell you about myself. Years and years ago, I was sitting, wondering. I was a young man then, a graduate student, and I asked myself, what shall I do with the rest of my life? And I heard a voice, the voice of God. Learn Russian. Go to the University of Washington. Teach the great Russian writers. And bring suffering to many, many students. And so I did.
Hi, I'm James Cole, a sophomore in bioengineering. The University of Washington and the scholarships that it provides acts as a gateway to a 21st century education for me, and I just returned from a study abroad program at the University of Washington Rome Center. Achieving this international experience would not have been possible if not for scholarships I received to attend university, and I will be forever grateful.
My name is Charles Mitchell, and I am Chancellor of the Seattle Community Colleges. I'm also a graduate of the University of Washington, and I would just like to send a message to the potential students to our higher education institutions. Education is important, especially in the technology and globalization that we're in today, and I would encourage you all to pursue education.
My name is Anna Michelson, and I recently had the opportunity to compete for the United States of America at the Athens Olympic Games, where my teammates and I won the silver medal in the women's 8-oar event. During my experience at the University of Washington, I learned how to balance my time between my studies, rowing on the team, and being a part of the community.
My name is Satya Sia. I've been working for the University of Washington since 1983. During my tenure here, I've also earned a bachelor's degree in 1989. University of Washington is such a wonderful place to learn and to work, and I have the privilege to do both.
My name is Nancy Mitchell, and I'd like to share my story with every one of you this evening. No parent wants to receive a telephone call at 3 o'clock in the morning letting you know that your son is in Harborview and has had a rollover accident. But thanks to their professionalism, their skills, and the experience of all the team, my son is here today. I urge all of you tonight to please help to continue to support this institution. Thank you.
I'm Bob Waterston. I'm the chair of Genome Sciences, and I moved here almost 2 years ago. I came because of the excellent faculty, not only in genome sciences, but across the school. This is a wonderfully exciting time in biology because we have the chance to take the genome sequences and apply them to improving healthcare in the way that we've never been able to do in the past.
My name is Yolanda Davis. My daughter, Ebony Davis, is a recipient of the Diversity Scholarship. We are so grateful for this scholarship. This scholarship has afforded us the ability to be able to attend the University of Washington without having the means of attending a great university. We appreciate this scholarship, and as soon as we're in a position to give back, that is what we intend to do. Thank you for this opportunity.
My name is Noel Paul. In most disciplines, a grad student has many universities to choose from, but not in the emerging field of digital arts, where there's really only one pioneering university, and only one in the world that has a PhD program in this subject. Thank you for creating this wonderful opportunity.
My name is Phyllis Gutierrez Kenny, State Representative for the State of Washington. My husband, son, and grandson have benefited directly from the incredible resource of teaching and learning that is the University of Washington. The university has been a beacon for education and research known worldwide and a model for the rest of the nation for its commitment to diversity. Muchísimas gracias por su dedicación de parte de nuestros estudiantes y comunidad. Thank you, University of Washington.
I'm Linda Buck, faculty member at Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center. Thank you. And I'm an affiliate professor here at the UW Medical Center. 30 years ago, I received an excellent undergraduate education that paved the way for my scientific career. Last week, I was deeply honored to receive the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. Through research, we learn how the body functions, knowledge that is essential to the understanding and treatment of disease. The world needs young scientists, and this is a wonderful place for them to receive the training they need to become the innovators and pioneers of the 21st century.
My name is Mike McGavick, and I am here to represent the business community in my role as the CEO of Safeco Insurance Corporation, and I am a proud Husky. But more than that, I'm here to concede a point. You expect the business person to talk about the economic contributions of the university, but it is so very much more important than that. Its manifest job is that each person who passes through this campus through what they learn and the ideas they create, can truly fulfill their passion in whatever field that may be. And through that fulfillment of passion, they will, and we together will, stand atop all of the ideas that went before and take our turn and put our shoulder at the wheel that moves civilization forward. That is why we are here.